This is December 19th, 2016 in eastern Tennessee. It's a pretty day. It's quiet, not much wind. I'm going to show today this 22AP, try to bring it back alive. It's still being marketed today. It's a pretty stable helicopter, except with this flybar. I think is a little bit too short for it. This flybar here, yeah. I made a longer one, and I tried it. It has V9 12 weights on it. It comes out to about here. I'm going to show that in a different film. I'm going to put lighter weights on it, 1/4 ounce fishing weights, because I use that on my V9 12 flybar, and it works fine. And I shortened that one because it was too long. But I think this one needs lengthening because it goes into this death spin and comes back and crashes like that once in a while. I don't know if it's from the instability of that flybar or what, because everything else is fine-tuned, and I got 5 of these, and I do the same for all of them. So I don't know why that happens so much, especially on left turns. It seems to all of a sudden just come back and go back down and out, and ends up stripping a gear back here on the primary gear off this carbon fiber shaft. It's a fine shaft, but that gear right there is very, very temperamental, if you can see it. And I never stripped the secondary gear, but I have stripped many of these primary gears. As you can see here, I've replaced many of these. The aftermarket expense of these helicopters is high, so. And they ought to just give us a little gear. See, they just pop right off. Right, they're on key. Same with these. If they ever broke, they just pop right off. Why didn't they just sell us bags of those, you know, instead? Poor kids having to put out $7 or $8 for one of these shafts every time. The bearing don't wear out, and the shaft, you can use it as a pogo stick. I mean, it's so strong. So, yeah, I put the V9 12 vertical stabilizer on there because it seems to be a lot stronger. And when the tail hits, if it does and will, and crashes, you don't strip out your gear back here so quick. The tail takes the impact, you see. Very fine tail. I incorporated on all my 22APs. Now this rotor head I took out from the 22AA, 9 or 11 components to it, but I don't want to break it because these parts are irreplaceable now. I cannot find them online. I don't know why, but so I just put the plastic rotor head in. But as I said, the flybar, I'm going to try to lengthen that. I already made one. I use 1/16 inch steel rod. I want to make it longer with 1/4 ounce fishing weights, lead. I just epoxy them on. Now on the front of this here, see if I can get the canopy off. Anyway, I use heat sinks on these, as you can see. On the front motor. I also slide the battery forward on these, cut the ribs out to give it a little bit more forward CG. I put an air deflector in the front of the canopy, as you can see there. Tin foil to deflect the air up and around so it cools the battery and front motor. Although the 370 motor in this seems to do real well. It doesn't really overheat, unlike the N50 tail motor here. That 370 up front there is a very fine motor, but this one here is an N50. That's all it is, with a diode on it, and it overheats tremendously. It's too much for that motor to push this drive shaft and all that tail drive system. So that was really a blunder on the engineers there. They should have used the N60 minimum up here for a brush motor. And this is a brush motor, by the way. It advertises as a brushless, well, coreless rather, in the ad, but it's not. It's just a typical brush motor. I put an air vent in the front of these things so you get real air in there. So that deflector I made deflects it all around, hopefully, and helps cool the battery and motor off. These little skids are made from fuel line. I just cut them to thickness and they slide right on, and they work real good for traction. These skid mounts here. And then a real nice trick. I've read a lot of threads. One last thing on this is the flybar stripes. See, I don't have them. And I didn't have to lower my canopy or anything. I used to, you see. But, you know, all I did was thought of using a 1/4-inch fuel line and cut it to 2 millimeter thick, alright, and put it between the anti-rotation collar and the fly bar, and you got it. And it's not going to hit. And it's directly in the center, around the shaft, so it's not interfering with throwing the weight off. And you can adjust the thickness of that with a razor blade as thick as you want it. Slice it down the middle and just wrap it around. And it works good on just about any helicopter. It's awesome modification for stopping flybar strikes on the canopy and on the tail. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just try giving it a flight now. Turn the transmitter on first. Get it far away from it a little bit. Not good to have it close by. And I'm going to do a 3.5 minute flight today. It's a little bit of a temperamental helicopter. Around here. It's pretty steady. I got it in high mode. I'm going to go real easy with it. I mean, I've flipped these things out of the air more times than any other helicopter I've owned. Very sensitive input. Sometimes you can hear a buzzing in the tail motor. It only takes about 2 minutes for those things to overheat. I put a direct drive tail on the next flight I'm going to do for you. It's a red version, same one, 228P. And it comes from the CP3 Super B. And it works real well. I'm going to show you that next, what I've done to one of my 5 228Ps. I'm going to do it to a couple more of them too. Cheaper, much more effective, and electric direct drive. Yeah, I've just burned out too many of these motors and shafts. Like I say, the parts expense is right up there for these things. But they're still selling them. And they're not selling the little gears for the back of the shaft either. Yet they're selling us the whole shaft. They're shafting us. 9 Eagles. Hope you hear us out there. We love your helicopter. We don't like the way you deal with us. Do something to fix that back motor. Replace it with a better one or something. Longer fit in there. Not a bad flyer otherwise. What's the line, Paul? Yeah, if I go into a left-hand turn, sometimes the gyroscopic precession pushes it so much that it's uncontrollable. Try to get back stable again. Just crashes. Just pull the power and let it dive. You might see one today. Hear that buzz? That's that darn tail motor. It's not powerful enough to push all that apparatus back there. Get a little power. Apply aileron on the turns first, young ones. Get a little aileron and then rudder. You have much smoother turns. That aileron will tighten up your turn.